Jim, what I wanted to start the show with, I guess how we ended the last show, the experience, AEW Collision, the ratings are in.
Drum roll, please. Wait a minute. Hold on here. I gotta be honest, I've heard the overall total. I've not got the quarters. Do you have the quarters, young Mr. Last?
I got the quarters, I got the dimes, I got whatever you need.
You got the quarters, you got the ratings and the viewers and the fans. You got the number of people who watched that show on Saturday night, and the elite gotta go. We love it to watch. That should be the new say. They'll replace Saturday night's all right for fighting.
So your singing is not bothersome when you're not screeching. It's the screeching.
That's what I'm doing my Chris Jericho rock and roll voice, because I want to make sure Sebastian Bach knows not to mess with me. I'll slap him naked and hide his clothes.
Your Chris Jericho rock and roll voice, really?
Yeah, baby, yeah. That's right, yeah, baby, yeah, because I'm a rock and roller.
You certainly are. An AEW Collision debuted June 17th on TNT with 816,000 viewers.
And that is within the range of what they've been doing on their Wednesday night show that's been established for past 4 years. Now, of course, it is not what the debut of Rampage did with CM Punk. What was it? Has it been 2 years ago now, or whenever that was? That was 1.2 million, but that was on a Friday night, and they had a lot more buzz going for them then. This, I would think, would be a bigger number than they're going to settle into over the next few weeks, because it was the debut, and everybody wanted to see what he was going to say. But since they hit, if not a home run with the entire show top to bottom, a home run with giving the people the Punk promo that they wanted, and a great main event, and just a better announced team and some interest, then hopefully they will hook a significant number of these to come back over the next few weeks and maybe build something from there.
It was a great first episode. I think just about everyone has admitted that. I guess the big thing is going to be, where do you go from here? Week 2, week 3. The first episode got you at the beginning, kept you to the end. Well, again, this is, for me at least, kept me to the end, left me wanting more, left me wanting to see what's going to be next. But let's go to the actual numbers.
I was about to say, let's see, because I've been curious about this as far as, did they keep, I didn't know what number they were going to do, but I wondered, would they keep a portion of their audience more than the Wednesday night show has been doing, regardless of what the overall total was? So let's see.
These were compiled by WrestleNomics. The show opened quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. CM Punk's in-ring live promo and the beginning of Luchasaurus vs. Wardlow, 868,000 viewers.
Boom.
Also, to note, 440,000 in the key demo.
So over half of the total audience.
Yeah.
And do we know what their lead-in was? Did they get a big bang, or did they get,
No.
Joe's Discount Muffler infomercial?
It wasn't the big bang, I don't think, and I think I watched it. I want to say it was an Avengers movie or something, but I don't remember.
Oh, well,
sure.
that might not be shabby.
It's not the Avengers you like.
What was Hulk involved? Was Iron Man still in his bulky yellow outfit?
Okay, maybe it is the Avengers you like.
Okay.
Well, segment 2, Jim, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m. The continuation of Luchasaurus versus Wardlow, the title change, and then QT Marshall and Powerhouse Hobbs' promo. Also, there was picture-in-picture. 828,000 viewers.
Okay, I can see that after Punk's interview, to be quite honest, some people may have said, all right, we can take a breath here. They lost 40,000, but they went right from Punk's promo to QT and Hobbs, so that's within, I think, the realm of credibility. Keep going.
And again, Wardlow doesn't mean today what Wardlow meant a year ago, so...
Yeah.
Quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Andrade El Idolo versus Buddy Matthews with picture-in-picture, 773,000 viewers.
Yeah, and that 27, 47, 55,000 people, I think those guys paid the price of the way that they're have been used, or in Andre's case, hadn't been used for a year now or however long.
Well, that's the thing. You tune into the show, you want to see CM Punk. That's the chance after that to hook you. Wardlow and Luchasaurus and Christian at least have been on the show. They've been used. Andrade hasn't been there. Has it been a year? I mean, it's been a long time. And then Buddy Matthews, you only know him for being the guy in the House of Black.
Yeah.
The guy who loses in the House of Black, I guess you could say. And that's despite this being a really good match.
But that's the problem, is they have to sacrifice some time early on to build anybody for the future. If somebody's unknown, and that got to be a problem during the Monday Night Wars, when it was like the guys that needed to be built couldn't get any time because you didn't want to sacrifice the fucking quarter hour to the other team who's got the NWO or whatever to build somebody they don't know, even if you've got big plans for them. And they're going to have to do that, especially on this program where they're acting like they're trying to do a wrestling show.
Well, the match continued into quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. Andrade versus Matthews, the post-match angle with House of Black, Scorpio Sky's promo video, Tony Nese and Mark Sterling's live promo, and Miro versus Tony Nese. 835,000 viewers.
Boom. And that's 27, 57, 62,000 up. And it wasn't the top of the hour. It was
Miro.
8:45 to 9 o'clock. So, yeah, Miro's got some. And do you think in some cases people were hearing that, hey, Andre and Buddy ain't bad, and they got reattracted?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question because it
went across that.
It went across 2 segments, and it was a really good match, and it was a match I dismissed at first, and they got me into it, and I really got into it. The question is how many people had the same experience, went on social media, or just texted someone and said, hey, you got to watch this. I don't know if that would be the determining factor, but who knows?
But Miro is back.
That's right. Segment 5, the 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m., a CM Punk video, Tony Storm and Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue with picture-in-picture, and a Ricky Starks video, 813,000 viewers.
That's 22,000 down from the last quarter, and that's kind of normal fluctuation, especially for one of the girls' matches.
As someone who has worked in wrestling dealing with television and programming wrestling on television, do you see the 9 o'clock hour on Saturday the same way you would see it a primetime 9 o'clock hour during the week?
I would see the top of the hour the same way anytime. The number of people watching television at a particular point shouldn't affect normal habits. If you're watching a program and it's over with, you might want to fucking switch around and see what else is on. And if you hit the guy, let's check in with the fucking wrestling show if you're at all interested. So technically, that's why that, especially as we've always talked about in the WWE, they put a big star or a name at the top of the hour to try to hook people. Oh shit, I see somebody I know. Here it was, and so they lost 20,000. But you can't. Punk's been in the start. He's going to be at the end. How many times can you? Who else did they have on the program at that point that was a channel-stopping name?
Yeah, maybe after we do the overall numbers, we should talk a little bit more about the key demo, because it's an interesting story it tells as well. But quarter 6, Jeff Jarrett's video and the Acclaimed Live promo, 756,000 viewers.
God, was that a whole fucking quarter?
Well, it does say here, too, there was an ad break, I guess, at the beginning and an ad break at the end. So I guess...
Jesus, no. So it started with 3.5 minutes of commercials. Then there was Jeff's video and the Acclaim promo, and then 3.5 more minutes of commercials. So yeah, they lost 60,000 people.
And a lot of people saw that Jeff video and just thought it was a commercial for some new show on TLC or something.
I thought it was actually the Nashville network.
Oh, there you go. Well, let's see what happens from here.
Son of a gun, they went out of business, didn't they?
Segment 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. FTR and CM Punk versus Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe with picture-in-picture, 823,000 viewers.
There you go. So they got them all back in an extra 10,000. That's a jump of 67,000 people.
And finally, segment 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m., the conclusion of FTR and CM Punk versus Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe, 834,000 viewers.
And they picked up some more and got another 11,000. So when is the last time on an AEW production that they actually not only gained for the main event, but kept gaining for the main event when it ran over 2 quarters? And looking at this, obviously Punk's interview and the start of the show, and everybody wanted to know what was going to happen, was, one of the EVPs going to come out and throw a live hand grenade in the ring. That was the highest quarter of the show. And if you take that out, then besides for quarter 4, which was 835,000, the last 2 quarters were especially the last one was the best of the program.
And again, with all the talk about Warner Brothers Discovery, what's Turner?
Or Turner Brothers.
Or TNT wanting CM Punk for this show. TNT makes money on the show by selling advertising on the show. They want to hit that key demo. Let's talk about that number. It's very interesting here.
Okay. Because normally I don't give a fuck about these people because they're young and I don't like them.
Well, it says something here. I actually find this very interesting. Show opens with 440, as we mentioned before. Goes to 416. Segment 3, 390, it bottoms out. Segment 4, 441. Segment 5, 9 o'clock hour, 421. Segment 6, 416. The final 2 segments, the main event match, 468 and 467.
So well over half, and I never pay attention, honestly, to the key demo just because it's so Uncle Dave-ish. But is that on Wednesday nights, is the key demo as high a percentage of the overall total audience as this program, or was this an anomaly, or did it just blow them out of the water?
Well,
where do we stand there?
Did you write down any of this? Because I'll go to the Dynamite.
Yes, I did. Of course I did.
Hold on. I don't know what you
I'm the son of a newspaper man. I'm taking notes all over the place. I'm writing every time a car passes me, I write their license plate down.
Well, for instance, AEW Dynamite this past week opened 9:18 and 4:15 for Adam Cole versus MJF.
Okay.
Closed Elite versus Blackpool match, 699 and 325.
Jesus. So 325 was lower than any quarter of Collision in the key demo. It was actually 65,000 lower than the lowest point. And hold on here.
You would think the opposite, though, wouldn't you? I mean,
it was 143 below the highest point.
You would think the young wrestling fans are just going to want to watch the silly wrestling people like the Bucks and the Elite and Moxley.
No, I think that's only for the older virgins. Maybe the young people are the ones that don't want to watch people play tough guy and act silly. They actually want to watch some guys who are tough guys who aren't acting silly. But so point is...
And by the way, as of today, the Punk returns and has plenty to say video. WrestleNomics compiled some YouTube stats. 1,400,000 views.
Jesus. And he had something to say. What I was going to say was Collision started with 868,000 and 440, or a little over 50%, were the key demo. And they ended with 834,000 and 467, which now is going on 60%, is it not? Or at least high 50s, was the fucking key demo. Whereas if you're talking about Dynamite, as you just were, it was at the lowest point, 320, 650, less than 50%. And at the highest point, like 40%. So that just contradicts that all the kiddies love the Buckaroos, doesn't it?
But like I said, with these numbers, again.
And it's a Saturday night where all these people are supposed to be going out doing drugs and getting pussy. That's apparently the story I'm hearing. Oh, nobody stays home anymore on Saturday nights. They're all going out and partying and being with friends and getting fucking their taint tickled.
Drugs and pussy, as you put it.
Drugs and alcohol and sex and sin. They all ought to burn in hell and go home and watch fucking Dynamite instead of Collision. That ought to be their punishment. But yeah, the young people kind of like the wrestling show, seems like. Even on Saturday night, they had to stay up late, but they didn't have to watch Kenny or masturbate.
Well, the story's now going to be, like we said, this is the first week. There's no trend line. We don't know what it's going to be as a standard going forward. Week 2, what are they going to do? And now we're going to see what there is as a Saturday audience. And it's going to be very interesting now because it almost becomes an in-house battle. Which show's going to do better Wednesday and Saturday? It's not even about them versus Raw or SmackDown. It's now going to be Saturday versus Wednesday.
Well, and the good thing is we know that with Punk on it, obviously it will not turn into another Rampage. He made the debut and then, quickly migrated over, and then Rampage became the Island of Misfit Toys. In this case, they honestly ought to give Rampage over to the Collision crew also and let them use it as a setup show on Friday night and a jumping off point for what you're going to see on Saturday. And let, the flavor of that program carry over to Collision, maybe switch the announce teams and keep Tony as far away from any of the meetings as possible so he doesn't know what's going to happen until he sees it.
That's not going to happen. That's the problem.
Well, but anyway, that Rampage could be a magazine/package show with highlights and comments and personality pieces that could lead to Saturday night's big fucking fighting where they get a little action in.
Speaking of rabbit holes on YouTube, after we talked about that Sky Blue interview, I went down a rabbit hole of some of these RJ City AEW shows. And I got to admit, I love them. They're great. They're funny. I really like them. And it got me thinking, again, maybe not this exactly. Although this may be the best example of the true personalities of a lot of these people. But do you think in the modern day of what wrestling on TV is, and it's to the point where shows like this are talking about ratings. So it's all about ratings. Could a show do a 2.5-minute personality profile type segment, whether it's a RJ City interview that brings out the true personality, or, Les Thatcher did personality profile famously in Southeastern. I don't know if that exact format would fit. Again, it's a 2023 wrestling show. Can you break away from the show and do something like that, you think?
Yes, because it's the same concept as the sit-down interviews that JR did with Mankind that made Mick Foley a star because he sold Vince on him. And everybody remembers him to this day, but it's what sold Vince on Mick. It doesn't have to be everybody wants to do a fucking talk show. These goddamn talk shows with fucking ferns and the potted plants and the cushy chairs and the fucking whatever the fuck. And then nobody takes it seriously to begin with. But if you cut away from a basketball game in between at halftime, or in case of a goddamn game stoppage because somebody's got a concussion or whatever the fuck, and you go to 2 minutes of a sportscaster interviewing an interesting guy with some B-roll of the shit that he's talking about, and people are interested in any way in what he's got to say, they're not going to fucking tank on the rest of the program just because you popped in and told them a little about this guy for 3 minutes. That's the thing is, nobody knows who these fucking people are and why they should give a shit about them. Nobody, the heels aren't allowed to, except for the main event guys that have 20-minute interviews. And I'm talking in AEW. Everything's scripted over the other place. But somebody needs to, the heels need to trash talk somebody and just get themselves over and piss people off. Or the baby faces need to be able to tell people in some respect why they should give a fuck about whether they succeed or turn blue or burst into flames. Yeah.